After being dominated by Hitchens, does George Kambosos still have a bit of fight left in him? Or is it time to retire? This is what I want to analyse. Let's dive in. For the last few years, George Kambosos has been fighting high-level competition. Out of his last 7 fights, 5 of them have been world title fights. So that's a high caliber of fighters he's been fighting in that small time period, over 7 fights and a few years. However, out of those 5 world title fights that he's had, he's only won 1 of them, and that was that awesome, spectacular fight against Teofimo Lopez, when he shocked the world and beat Teofimo. But since then, he's fought high-level competition like Devin Haney twice, lost twice. Then he went on to fight a controversial win against Maxi Hughes. And then after that, Vasily Lomachenko, when he got stopped with a body shot. Then after a 10-month layoff, he went on to fight Jack Wiley, a bit more of a low-level fighter. But that set him up to fight for another world title against Hitchens, which he just recently lost and was kind of dominated before he got stopped with a body shot in the 8th round. So Hitchens doing a little bit better than Teofimo Lopez by stopping George Kambosos again with a body shot in the 8th round, where Lomachenko stopped him in the 11th round. So is this a bit of degraded skills or wear and tear for George Kambosos? Maybe. He's been in some tough fights. He's been in some wars. So if you think of the fight he had against Teofimo Lopez, that was a bit of a battle, a bit of a tough fight, a bit of a slugfest in a way. And then he went on to fight Devin Haney twice, which he took a lot of punishment in those 2 fights. And then the other world title fight against Vasily Lomachenko, again, took a lot of punishment and ended up getting stopped with a body shot in the 11th round. And now just recently, another punishing fight, and loses in the 8th round to Hitchens. So the body might be getting a bit older for the game and maybe can't handle or take as much as it used to. And then you go back to what his team has said. His father has said that his skills or his reflexes weren't quite there for the Hitchens. There were things that they wanted him to do, but his mind could do it, but his body just couldn't quite get there quick enough. So that could be a little bit of degraded skills, and that might be due to the fact that he's had kind of tough fights over the years, fighting for all these world titles against all these high caliber fighters. But in saying that, there's still fights that can be had for George Kambosos. I mean, there is still the Paro fight. That is still a fight that some people have a taste for and would like to see how that fight ends up. Who would be victorious? And if he was to beat Liam Paro, where would he go from there? Would he try to go fight for another world title? I don't know if he'll get a chance to fight for another world title. I don't know if he'll be accepted to fight for another world title. I think the only person that might want to fight him, if it is for a world title, would be Teofimo Lopez, because he would want his revenge. And I think this time he would probably get it. And it might be with a stoppage, possibly. So that is one option, to go and fight Liam Paro. And you could make that a big fight, market that fight well in Australia, so you can have a decent crowd to see that fight and maybe make a bit of a payday. And second to that, what's your other option? Go back to high caliber domestic fighters. There's not really a point of sitting in the international stage if you're not going to progress through the rankings and try and challenge yourself to fight for a world title. He's fought 5 times for a world title. And as he's mentioned in the press conference, he's happy, he's comfortable, he's made a lot of money, and he's gotten to the level that he's wanted to. So maybe the taste for that world title, or for gaining that world title, is probably not something that he's motivated to go for anymore, or motivated to achieve. So the only fights I see for George Kambosos would be against Liam Paro. Teofimo Lopez, I highly doubt that George Kambosos is going to get another shot at a world title. Teofimo Lopez, I don't think, although he wants revenge, I don't think he wants to waste his time on an opponent like George Kambosos, because I'm pretty sure Teofimo Lopez would beat him this time. And I think they both might know that. And then second to Liam Paro is just back to the domestic level. which I don't think is a smart idea, because as George Kambosos' skills degrade, he's only going to get into more wars with domestic level fighters. And you can keep fighting domestic level fighters and try and hype up them fights, but all you're really going to do is more damage to your body. And if you've already earned enough, as he said, he's made enough money, then what is the point? It's not really going to be memorable fights. You're not fighting top level fighters. You're not fighting for a world title. So maybe it's time to hang up the gloves for George Kambosos. In my opinion, I think it probably is. But who knows? We'll see what happens. See if he aims to fight Paro. Who knows? He might be trying for that fight. He might still have a little bit of fight left in him and go for that one final showdown with an opponent. Or he might just hang up the gloves. We'll wait and see and find out eventually. Anyway, what's your thoughts? Do you think it's time for George Kambosos to hang up the gloves? He has had a decent career. He's fought for a world title 5 times. He's only won once, multiple titles in that fight, but lost 4 times in world title clashes. But he's had some decent fights. So you got to give it to him for that. He's tough, but you can't keep taking that sort of punishment. So what are your thoughts? Do you think he should keep fighting? Do you think he should fight against Paro? Do you think he should go back to higher level domestic fighters? Or do you think, like I do, he probably should just hang up the gloves? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, peace out.
Myths in boxing, highlight real scene, front row seats to the blow by blow scene.